All right, our slideshow is next. Once again, my settings are going to change a little bit from the high resolution versus, of course, here the medium resolution. And again, I'm going to be using some different settings. You're welcome to go and use your own if you wish. You're more than welcome to fiddle around with these settings. All right, once again, I'm going to head over to the external style sheet. This time, it's going to be #sign slideshow. All right, and I have to remind you here, if you're ever in doubt, if you're sitting here going, all right, I want to get that slideshow under control, but I don't remember how it was set up or I don't know what to do, that's why we have the HTML file kicking around, right? If I scroll all the way up, there's our slideshow right there. Okay, and I go, oh, yeah, right, I set up the slideshow to control a div, and it's an ID selector, right? And of course, ID selectors are always preceded by a sign or a hash mark. Okay, so just keep your HTML file kind of kicking around just for reference, just in case you ever need to go back. All right, so as far as the slideshow is concerned, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set a width here. Now, what I'm going to do, this is actually pretty cool, is, well, with the high resolution, we had a fixed width and height for the slideshow, if you'll recall. And I'm going from memory. Actually, I shouldn't go from memory. If I scroll down to the high resolution, where's our slideshow? There he is. 840 pixels by 300 pixels. Okay, I'm sure you remember that. And at the time, I mentioned that I had pulled those values out of the Photoshop file. So that's great, but it's going to change here with the medium resolution because I'm setting the medium resolution layout to scale, right? We've already talked about that, 95%. So I'm going to set it up so that the slideshow scales as well. Pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set his width to a percentage, and I'm going to go with 90% myself. Okay, something like this. All right? All right, now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set a height. Now the height that I'm going to use is going to be a fixed value, 300 pixels. So you can mix and match your scaling and your fixed units if you want for width and for height, as I've done here. All right, what else am I going to do here? Well, let's make sure to center this guy inside the layout as well. So I'm going to go margin, okay? Now, instead of doing the 0 auto, which we've done, if I can get auto in there, there we go, something like that. Now, instead of doing that, that's what I was saying, what I'm going to do is instead of using 0 for top and bottom, I'm going to use 10 pixels for top and bottom, okay? So I want 10 pixels of space above and below the slideshow, and of course, I want the browser or the object itself to figure out how much space should be on the left and right sides, okay? So, sorry, that was a little bit confusing. There we go. That's looking good. The other thing that I'm going to do is I want to set a background on this guy. Okay, once again, a temporary wireframe background of 200, 200, and 200. Okay, just that gray background. And how about a border? Okay, so I'm going to go border, 1 pixel, solid, and let's just make this a black border, 0, 0, 0. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and save up your work, and let's check out our slideshow over inside our browser. Give it the good old refresh, Controller Command R on your keyboard, and there's our slideshow. Okay, now here's the cool thing about the slideshow. So once again, the height is fixed. Okay, so the height's not going to change, but the width is set to 90%. Okay, so the width of this guy is always going to be 90% of the overall width. So 90% of 95% because the master is 95%, right? So this guy could scale out nice and wide like this, something like this, or he could collapse all the way down, maybe something like that, okay, before breaking into that third media query, okay? So pretty cool techniques, pretty cool tricks to pull that off. And of course, I have the 10 pixels of space above this guy and below this guy and auto spacing on the left and of course over on the right as well.